there is a kind of superior natural order, a power they call heaven, we translate it as heaven, which you draw upon, which is nothing to do with God, and it has got a will of its own, but they provide the framework in which you could develop your human values and develop them in such a way that they will provide for everybody by wise leaders who are all thinking of how to better the societies that they are responsible for, and then they select among themselves, educate and train them to do this in an orderly way. So the sense of unitary order and the sense of continuity, the sense that every dynasty or every king or every administration has lessons to teach the next administration was valid. So you develop a sense of history that everybody learns from the past. So the Chinese actually developed that and used their writing to transmit the lessons from one generation to another. And that sense of history became one history, continuous, basically continuous, for now 3,000 years. India had nothing like that. The opposite. India does not believe in history. There are words of wisdom which come from the great classics of literature and religious and spiritual life, and they've inherited that and interpret that in different ways in the names of different gods. Your Vishnu, your Krishna, your Shiva provides different inspirations for how you interpret it. It was not one single religion in a way, it was a body of different religious responses to the demands of life, which created a great civilization. But because it was an open civilization, it was easy to learn from it. And when their merchants and priests came to Southeast Asia, the Southeast Asians at that time had not yet developed their own civilization, but found this very acceptable. That these people have thought through many things, and they selected from that to take into their own culture, insert it into their own culture, and integrated it into something that they own. So they began to share almost all the same values for probably something like 2,000 years from the earliest, we don't have clear records, but from the earliest contacts between South Asia and Southeast Asia. The spread of these ideas had already gone through Nusantara and even on the mainland. And it was tremendously attractive, it was open. And people all learned how to be open in the Indian way.
Right.
So you don't talk about borders. The Indians have no real concept of borders of any kind. And neither does Southeast Asia to begin with. They have mandalas, and you can see that attraction of an openness that Indian civilization represented was very attractive in Southeast Asia. And so very quickly, all the Nusantara and the mainland areas had taken on these spiritual, aesthetic, literary, including language and so on, and into their way of life. So that for the next 1,000 years, 1,500 years, it emerged as part of Southeast Asian civilization.